Alright, everybody, welcome to the Will Dogs Games and Wrestling channel. Today we're going to be discussing WWE's Hell in a Cell 2015. I know in my intro video I said I'd do a WrestleMania 17 review, and that is still on the cards. I'm looking forward to doing that. Mostly because I haven't seen the whole WrestleMania 17. I've heard great things about it, but let's talk about some current wrestling. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying, as I did in my intro, I'm not a weekly wrestling watcher. I stopped shortly before SummerSlam this year. The weekly wrestling was just too much for me. I'm doing some college stuff, and it just was not worth it. But I still watch the weekly pay-per-views. They are the monthly pay-per-views and the live events. I watch NXT's live events. I love that stuff. But I haven't watched the build-up for this, but I was looking forward to this pay-per-view. Mostly, like most people, Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker was the intrigue for me. And that's what they built this pay-per-view around. So that we're going to run down the card in order. I just think it works out best that way. That way, you know, we can talk about each match, make sure we get everything in. So yeah, let's just get down to brass tacks. Do this. First on the pre-show, and let me start off by saying I'm not a big fan of these pre-shows. I think they drag out these pay-per-views too much. I mean, you got a 3-hour pay-per-view, and then you're gonna add an hour pre-show just for one match. No, don't do that. All right, decide what you can cut out, and just do a 3-hour pay-per-view. That's what I'm used to. Except for WrestleMania, of course, but then they turned that into 5. But the pre-show match wasn't bad this week or this month. I didn't feel too bad about watching it. So we had Dolph Ziggler, Cesaro, and Neville against Rusev, Sheamus, and King Barrett. First thing I said when they were coming down, and I mentioned this to my wife, they're still using the King gimmick? Really? Come on. It's been terrible. Come on, WWE. Nobody cares. Alright? Like, seriously, bring me back the bare knuckle brawler. Wade Barrett. Loved it. I loved his gimmick there. I loved it when he was facing Ezekiel Jackson for the IC title. That was great back in 2011. I mean, that was more interesting than this King stuff. Now, that's a little hypocritical of me because I was one of those clamoring for them to bring back King of the Ring, but they wasted it so much by having him lose after getting that King title. You know, I think a great Kings of the Ring, you know, you got Bret Hart, you got Owen Hart, you've got, Stone Cold Steve Austin. They used that to launch him. I mean, he gave his Austin 3:16 speech right after King of the Ring 96, and that launched him. But they've done nothing with Barrett, you know. So it seems like since the late 90s, this whole King of the Ring thing has done nothing for people. I mean, maybe the last person it helped was Sheamus back in 2010, but not to the point that it used to. So, but overall, the match was good. I really liked the Cesaro swing with the red arrow. I mean, they showed it like 50 million times, and during the pay-per-view later. Yes, the red arrow looks awesome. It has since Neville was in NXT. That's great. Let's stop pointing it out. Let people just see it. Alright? But the match was good. It was serviceable. They did, they wrestled for a good 11-12 minutes. It was pretty good. I liked it. I'm not a big fan of 6-man tag, but this is how you do a 6-man tag. I liked it. So the pay-per-view started out, we had John Cena coming out talking about, he had this whole monologue to do, but he was just gonna, you want some, come get some. And we hear Swagger's music, Jack Swagger. But it's not Swagger who comes out, Zeb Coulter comes out. Now this whole thing confused me a little bit, given the character Zeb Coulter, but I understand he's kind of, managing a face right now, with Jack Swagger. But, before the match, I really wanted them to bring an NXT star up. Not necessarily Tyler Breeze, although that would have been fine. I would have been happy with that. But a surprise by having Zeb Coulter introduce Alberto Del Rio, who has been gone for over a year. And if you don't know the whole story, I mean, it was, you look it up online why he left. And it's surprising to see him back, but it was very much a good surprise here how they did it. So, Alberto Del Rio comes out to challenge for the U.S. title in the Open Challenge. And the match was good. It was good to see Del Rio back. He looked great. And he won with the backstabber to the kick to the head, and it pinned John Cena clean, which is always good in my book. I'm not a big fan of Cena in general. I haven't minded him with this U.S. title because of the Open Challenge, and he's been elevating it a bit, so he's been doing better lately. But if y'all keep up with the internet, you know he's about to take some time off to film a reality show, so they had to take that off of him. So Del Rio taking it, I'm happy with. All right, I wasn't a huge fan of Del Rio when he was in WWE, but I'm interested to see where this goes. So, give him the benefit of the doubt. It was a short match too. Always good to have John Cena in a short match. I mean, he's a good wrestler, but he's the Hulk Hogan of today. I mean, you know what to expect. You know, Hogan had his 5 moves of doom, and now you got Cena with his 5 moves of doom. Every Cena match is pretty much the same. I mean, he started breaking out that springboard stunner earlier this year, but I'm not a fan of that because he's not using it as a finishing move, and the stunner should be a finishing move. When a wrestler saves your company from destruction, from competition like WCW, you do not use his move with somebody else. That's not a finisher. But overall, match was good. I enjoyed it. So, right after that, Hell in a Cell starts getting lowered. So, I was very happy about this. Hell in a Cell is really one of my favorite matches. Lately, it hasn't been as good as it was in the 90s. I mean, just look at like Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, Taker, Mankind, Triple H, Mankind, Mick Foley, really, Cactus Jack. You look at the Rikishi match where he got thrown off the top, just like Mick Foley. That doesn't really get talked about. You know, you always see Mick Foley getting thrown off there, but Rikishi did it too. Last year's Hell in a Cell match between Ambrose and Rollins, that was awesome. You know, falling off the side of the cage reminded me of Shawn Michaels in that Bad Blood match. So yeah, I was very excited. So we had Roman Reigns against Bray Wyatt, and let me start off by saying I'm a huge Bray Wyatt fan, mostly because he reminds me of Taker, and Taker is like top 5 wrestler of all time for me. Not because he's particularly an awesome technician like I mostly like, but his character, he runs with it. And Bray Wyatt does it too. He's creepy. I like him. So there were some good moments in this match. Like Wyatt did his little choke slam looking thing. Not really a choke slam, but his slam right into a table from the ring apron down to the floor. It was really cool. And I did that on Roman Reigns. I don't mind Reigns winning this one. It didn't really, piss me off too much. I understand they're trying to elevate him, but please, WWE, if you're listening for any reason, don't make him into the next John Cena. You don't need another John Cena. You need a new character who can run the company. Don't make him John Cena like. Stop with the fairy tale promos. Stop with all that. But his feud with Bray Wyatt since Money in the Bank has been really good. So this was a longer match, 23 some odd minutes is what I'm seeing here. It didn't feel like it. The pace was really good. Roman Reigns' spear on Bray Wyatt into the table was really good too. They used the cell a little bit. They don't use it as much as they used to, but I didn't mind. So we go right into the tag title match after that. And New Day ended up retaining, and I'm fine with this. I'm not a big fan of older wrestlers holding titles. I'm a big fan of older wrestlers putting over the newer wrestlers that you're trying to elevate. And New Day's been very entertaining. They're one of the few entertaining things I see on the current product right now. So, match was alright. There was a little bit of a botch. Dudley boys were trying to execute a move, and they obviously did not know what the other one was doing, and it looked really ugly. Even JBL said it looked butt ugly, and that's the first thing I thought. But that's fine. I mean, they're just coming back to WWE, and I know they were wrestling elsewhere, TNA and all that, but TNA wrestling is very different from WWE, so they kind of get back in the swing of things, so that's fine. There was a cool little moment where one of the New Day, I think it was Kofi, threw their trombone at Bubba Ray and made it look like he had hit him while the ref's back was turned, and that was a cool little moment, little tribute to Eddie Guerrero, one of my favorites. Rest in peace. So that didn't get New Day the title because the ref didn't believe it. He was gonna just DQ the Dudley boys, but then let the match go. But then there was some distraction, and Kofi hit the Trouble in Paradise, and lo and behold, they retained. So I'm fine with that. That was great. It's a nice little 10-minute match-ish. And after that, we rolled right into the Divas title match. Now, I'm going to preface this again. Tell you a little bit of something about my philosophy on this. I'm not a big fan of it being called the Divas title. I don't like the Divas division. It's women's wrestling. It should be the women's title. I mean, I think of women's wrestlers. I don't think of, to use their competitions in TNA, and I'm not talking about their competition. I'm talking about, TNA. And I don't think of it like that. I think of people like Trish Stratus, who could go. Lita, who could go, and they main evented a Raw. I think of, what Sasha Banks is doing right now. I think of Alundra Blaze, or Medusa if you're a WCW watcher. I think of, Sunny. Sunny could go in the ring. Sable could go in the ring, and that's what I look for. I'm not a big fan of Nikki Bella, but she did a lot better this match than she normally does. I think Brie's a much more talented wrestler. And I'm not watching to watch sports entertainment. I'm watching to watch wrestling. That's why I've been watching a lot of Ring of Honor lately. So, overall, it was a good Divas match. They let them go for 10 minutes, which is a breath of fresh air, because usually these matches go for 5 minutes maybe, and I'm a big fan of them, WWE letting the women actually wrestle instead of being the bathroom break. Charlotte retained with her figure 8. There was a little storytelling in the ring where Nikki was hitting her back, kicking it, hurting it really bad, and I thought they were gonna set up for her rack attack. I don't like that. They were using it as storytelling that she couldn't get her figure 8 in, and she ended up getting it in after a second try, retaining by submission. I love it. Just like AJ Lee, I loved when, not just women wrestlers, but any wrestler. Like, I'm a big Bret Hart fan because I love submission wrestling. I like Daniel Bryan. I've liked Daniel Bryan for a while because he's a submission wrestler. In fact, I'm listening to his book right now, an audio book, and if you haven't listened to Daniel Bryan's book, it's really, really good. In fact, he reads half of it for you if you do the audio, or at least read it. I mean, it's good. Charlotte retained, kept her title. I'm happy about that. I did not like Nikki Bella. I don't think she's as good of a wrestler as many of the women on that roster. So hopefully this is the last time she will challenge for the title for a while. So we go from that excellent Divas match into a less than excellent WWE title match, which brings up my other point. The title should be the main focus of a pay-per-view. I don't care what you built this pay-per-view around. That title is what keeps your company going. And another problem. You've got the WWE title up for grabs. But you're talking about how this match affects the Authority. Really? Come on. That is your title. That is the WWE title. That is what your company is built around. Talk about it. You know? Don't just talk about the Authority. Nobody cares about the Authority, by the way, except for your stockholders, WWE. I mean, nobody cares. Triple H is not Vince McMahon. And you don't even have a Stone Cold to do it. You did with Dean Ambrose, but you buried him. The match, I'm going to be completely honest, I lost focus. It ran for 15 minutes. It shouldn't have. Maybe I would have been more excited if somebody besides Kane had challenged. Kane has no business being, even near the title. I said it when he wrestled Daniel Bryan in Extreme Rules 2013. Was it 2013? 2013? No, 2014. Sorry. Extreme Rules 2014. While it was a great match, he had no business challenging for that title. And he still has no business challenging for that title. So Corporate Kane loses his job. Thank God for the fans. Nobody cares about him. They've been slow burn turning him to a face for a while now. While I don't watch, I still keep up with what's going on Raw and SmackDown, so I know. So 15 minutes for Seth Rollins to retain like everybody knew he was going to, because the creative booking team would have been stupid to put the title on Kane. I'm sure Glenn Jacobs would have told them that. So we go into the IC title match, which is another match which books itself. And they went with the right booking. Thank God, because half the time they don't. Kevin Owens versus Ryback. Who's really going to win that? Really? Come on, WWE. Give me somebody who can actually challenge for a title. Alright? It was, I'll tell you the truth, I was making food. It was a bathroom break, which, a year ago was the Divas match, but I actually wanted to watch that. But sad to say, the IC title was my bathroom break. I understand Kevin Owens won by a pop-up powerbomb. I could have booked that for you. Come on. Ryback is not what he was in 2011. Alright, you buried him. Well, not really buried, but he's not as strong as he was. I won't say buried, but he's not what he used to be. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Kevin Owens. I've been a big fan of Kevin Steen since he was wrestling, Ring of Honor and all that. So, he's the IC titles wrestler. There's the IC title. The IC community, in the internet community, he's their wrestler. He's saying everything that we're thinking. When he feuded with John Cena, he was saying, everybody's tired of hearing you talk. Everybody on the internet is tired of hearing him talk. So he's saying what we want to say. He's kind of like a Stone Cold. Not so much like he could go against the Authority, but in the fact that he's saying what you wish you could, in that sense. So glad to see he retained. I didn't expect anything less. Sorry about that. So we'll go right into Lesnar Taker. This is the main event of the show. Again, I feel like the title should be the main event every show. That's just me. I mean, I don't care if you got Stone Cold facing The Rock for the first time in years. You put that title on last. So Lesnar did not get top billing. He came out first with Paul Heyman. I was very happy. It's very good. Taker obviously gets top billing, and I'm fine with that. First of all, he's a veteran. Second of all, his entrance doesn't work if you can't do the psychological effect of his entrance if your opponent's not out there. So this was probably one of the better Hell in a Cell matches I've seen in a while. Hell in a Cell's been watered down. Half the matches don't even use the cage. Half the matches don't get brutal. besides Ambrose Rollins last year. Last time I saw the Hell in a Cell match get brutal was WrestleMania 28, and that was Undertaker Triple H, and that was awesome. I actually thought Taker should have retired at that point because that would have been perfect with that little parting shot of Michaels, Triple H, and Taker, end of an era. Yeah, he should have been done. Triple H should have been done. Thank God Shawn Michaels is staying in retirement. Not because I don't like Shawn Michaels, but I'd hate to see him sully his legacy like Taker's done in the last year. Last year and a half, really. I mean, Taker's not Taker right now. But this match was awesome. I'm pretty sure both men bladed during this match. If you don't know what blading is, they were hiding a razor blade, probably in their gloves is what I saw. Because Lesnar took a not so wicked shot to the corner turnbuckle, and then and when he got up, it looked like he was bleeding profusely, and I caught him scraping his forehead with the end of his glove, and then later on in the match, Taker took a shot, but not so hard. But then I saw him, same thing. Pretty surprising considering WWE's view on blading. It's very different today than it used to be. So yeah, the match itself was good. There was a lot of drama. I was a big fan of Lesnar winning. Saw something we hadn't seen ever. I don't think I've never seen it. Lesnar tore up the ring apron, like on the top, and pulled out the padding, and took a tombstone on it, and then it was pretty good. If you watch one match out of this pay-per-view, watch Lesnar Taker. It was good. Overall, I give the match a probably a B minus. There were some matches that weren't so great. Like the 6-man tag, whatever. It wasn't bad, but it's 6-man tag. IC title match wasn't great. Give Owens a better opponent. The WWE Championship match wasn't great. No, but it had a stellar Divas match. I was a big fan of the Alberto Del Rio surprise. And Taker Lesnar, like I said, really good. And just to clarify, at the end of the Lesnar-Taker match, they showed Taker kind of selling his injuries, and then the Wyatts came out and attacked him. So it looks like that's what his next feud's going to be. Hopefully his last one. So they kind of carried him out, kind of like Jesus carrying the cross. It was kind of bizarre. I liked it though. It was a cool image. So yeah, that was WWE's Hell in a Cell 2015. Like I said, if you got the network, go ahead and watch it. It was pretty damn good. All right, so B minus overall, pretty good. That'll be it for today, and we will see you next time.